It has ended. It has ended with the first win for George Russell. He should be proud. He should be proud. 5 years back, he was doing Formula One FP1s for Force India, and this guy comes back and gets his chance, gets his opportunity with Mercedes. A difficult season throughout the year, a very difficult season. There were a couple of races where Mercedes could have won it. It was one was Mexico, the other definitely being Brazil, and he takes it, wins in sprint, makes his intention pretty clear to his team, and of course the 7-time world champion, his teammate Sir Lewis Hamilton, who's now an honorary citizen of Brazil now as well, and loves Brazil and his culture. Makes his mark. The first win for George Russell. Many to come, but then this shows intent, this shows desire, this shows the grit he has. A lot to talk about. The Interlagos Grand Prix and Brazil, always a stunning kind of a melee, a different emotion race. First lap incidents were not shy. Kevin Magnussen being tapped by Daniel Ricciardo, who then Kevin Magnussen turning and then hitting back Daniel Ricciardo, and both of them out in the first lap. Sad to see that happen so quickly for both Daniel Ricciardo and Kevin Magnussen. I expected and then dropping in basically from 7th, for Kevin K-Mag, but he just couldn't hold on. Then George Russell has a good flying start. He leads the race. He leads the race along with Lewis Hamilton, who gets into some kind of a trouble. There is contact. There's a lot happened in the race. So there's a contact between Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen, who loses his front wing. Max Verstappen needs to pit, and Lewis Hamilton also needs to pit to because he has a puncture on the front left. He gets in. There is a 5-second penalty added to Max Verstappen, who serves it. He's been struggling the whole. Then he starts struggling because he pits first for softs. He pits first for mediums, then pits for softs, and then pits for another fresh pair of softs. But he ends in P6. Some drama in the end with Perez there, because Perez held the line. It was always Russell, Perez, and Hamilton, with Sainz, Leclerc, Alonso kind of in the melee. But then during that, Lando Norris gets a 5-second penalty. He basically hits Charles Leclerc, who kind of spins, just misses the barrier, or just about to misses the barrier. But then he serves his penalty as well. But that's a good recovery, right? A couple of things I should say from the front. This is what everyone's fighting for, or has been fighting for. The first thing is the second place on the Constructors' Championship. That's kind of still up in the. That's still up. That's still kind of up in the air. This is where everything is right now. There's a 19-point difference between Ferrari and Mercedes. Red Bull has won the championship. Now we're talking about second. There's a 19-point difference between Ferrari and Mercedes, who go into the final race of the season in Abu Dhabi. Alpine and McLaren have almost similar 19-point difference between them. Alfa Romeo and Aston Martin are still fighting for the 6th spot. It's still 5 points between them. Haas and AlphaTauri are also similar. They're also kind of fighting for the same. They're 37, 35, 2 points between them. So everyone's having a fight right now. Ferrari versus Mercedes, Alpine versus McLaren, Alfa Romeo versus Aston Martin, Haas versus AlphaTauri. That's still happening. The biggest loser in all of this was, of course, McLaren, who kind of lost, who secured 0 points in the whole because of both the DNF and the contact there. And that's kind of that's been how it is. So if Mercedes finish 1-2, Ferrari must finish P3 and P5 to stop them from taking the P2 in the constructors. That's a very big if. So that's what was up. And on the drivers championship, just getting the latest numbers. On the drivers championship, between George Russell and Sergio Perez, it's 290. Both of them are 290 points. And that's that's the live right now. 287. Yes, no, Charles Leclerc pips him 287, 286 by 1 point right now. And that 1 point could have come if Max Verstappen had allowed him to go. But anyway, there's a lot that happened in this Grand Prix. I just want to take you back to where the how the race unfolded. These are the results from the Brazilian Formula One Heineken Grande Premio de Sao Paulo 2022 race results. George Russell finishing on top step of the podium. Lewis Hamilton closely behind with P2. Carlos Sainz P3. Fernando Alonso. It was so nice to see him kind of fighting through. There was a virtual safety car after Lando Norris stopped, and he made full use of it to kind of get his new softs. And that they worked. The softs worked for him because he was down at around P9, and he pushed himself through to get to P5. Max Verstappen P6, Sergio Perez P7, Esteban Ocon P8, Valtteri Bottas P9. Quickly about Esteban Ocon and Max Verstappen, Sergio Perez. Esteban Ocon is being told by his engineer after the virtual safety car, which was then turned to be a full safety car, where his engineer is telling Perez, you need to confirm to me that you're not going to fight Alonso. Ocon says, I have a race. I have Vettel in front. I need to cross him. I need to pass him first. Engineer goes back and says, I don't want you to fight Alonso. You need to confirm. Ocon again says, I have to fight Vettel. I need to get past him ASAP. I will not fight Alonso. That's the level of competition that you love to see. That's like, they're not buddies. You have to understand, they're not buddies here. They're not doing anybody favor. They're highly competitive people with athletes who are brutal. They're very brutal with the profession that they're in. It's not their fault. They just are like that, and that's the reality. And that's what happens. Ocon doesn't fight Alonso. Alonso goes through, but then at the end, what's happening with Max Verstappen and Perez? That was pretty interesting. It kind of, the radio was played after the podiums or after the race was done. So Max Verstappen has nothing to win. Sergio Perez is all to lose because he can still finish P2. Like, he can still finish the construct in the drivers championship as the second number driver. He could have been on level on points if he had finished P6. Sergio Perez was on a medium tire. He had a bad strategy. He had the wrong tire on. So, okay, let's not go this route. He had the wrong tire on. He didn't have the right tire. So Max Verstappen is kind of picking up everybody from the back and then comes to P6, P7, and then he stays there when Lewis Hamilton, Carlos Sainz, Leclerc, and Alonso just pass Sergio Perez. He loses from P2 and he ends in P7. That should hurt. Sergio Perez does not fight when Verstappen is passing through. But when Verstappen is told that if you can't pass Alonso or if you can't pass Leclerc, we will swap you back with Perez. He didn't say anything. And at the end of it, where Max Verstappen's engineer understands what is happening, that he's going to finish this before Perez, he's like, "Why didn't you do it?" And he's like, "I have told you something, and I'd still stick with it. I will fight for it, and I stand by it." It basically means to me, he's basically telling the whole team, "I am the number one driver. You don't tell me to back or let somebody pass. That will not work with me." And that's exactly what Max Verstappen has done. He has now basically soured the grapes here a little. Of course, everybody will be like, "Oh, it's fine. Nothing is." This is their true color. This is the true sense of being a Max Verstappen or a Lewis Hamilton or a Fernando Alonso or any of these drivers' teammate. They're just cutthroat here. There is no chance. Just wrapping up where everything, it got very testy and tasty at the end. Valtteri Bottas finishing P9, Lance Stroll getting through Sebastian Vettel. I would have loved, Sebastian Vettel was at P5 at one point. I was like, if he just finishes, he was even late. He was even second at one point. But he pitted. Pierre Gasly, I would have loved to see him kind of finish on top of the podium. But yeah, it's Sebastian Vettel. I just love Sebastian. Pierre Gasly, P12, Zhou Guanyu 13th, 14th to Mick Schumacher, Alex Albon 15th, Nicholas Latifi 16th, Yuki Tsunoda 17th. I don't know what Yuki Tsunoda was doing. He went to the left when everyone was unlapping. I don't know how he couldn't unlap himself. That was pretty strange. But anyway, Lando Norris, Kevin Magnussen, Daniel Ricciardo don't finish the race. And that was the Sao Paulo Brazilian Grand Prix for you. One more race, something still to fight for. It's not over yet. Nothing. It's still kind of there. It's still there. There's still something to fight for, and that's what I'm more excited about. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know what you think. Abu Dhabi. This is the season finale. What do you think is going to happen? Can Max Verstappen or can anybody? Not Max Verstappen. Can anybody predict who finishes P2 right now? Does Mercedes finish P2 or does Ferrari hold the charge there? And of course, in the drivers championship, is it George Russell's game, or do you feel it still can happen that Checo Perez will go through? Let me know what you think. All the congratulations to and all the best for the next race to all teams. But then congratulations, it was a lot of emotions there. Boy, man, who wanted to dream to win in Formula One, he has done it. This will feel sweet. Thank you, and do like and share and subscribe to our Instagram channel, also on YouTube. See you in the next one.